Oh my gosh. We are going to have so much fun on this show today, and you have got to stay to the end. You have to see it. I'm not telling you what it is because then you won't stay. So stay tuned and stay to the end. We're going to have so much fun. Hidden Gems of DFW is a video podcast to help marketing professionals as well as newbies learn the art of marketing and finding the treasures that help a small business grow. This podcast will be filled with gems and treasures in the DFW area from some of the best guests in the business. And even if you are not in the DFW area, these treasures will work for you. And now get ready for the Hidden Gems of DFW podcast with Chris O'Connor. Hello, everybody. I am so excited to be here today, maybe jumping up and down a little bit, but I am Chris O'Connor, your host of Hidden Gems of DFW, and we have a fun, chocolatey guest today. I know that was kind of a funny way to introduce you, but I'm very excited to have Jill, and I know I'm going to butcher your last name, and I apologize, but I've been trying Baethge.
Baethge, yeah.
Yay, I got it. Jill Baethge, and she's with Kaboom Chocolaka. And I met Jill a long time ago through the Plano Chamber. And I can remember when she was new and she came in and showed us her product. And I'm telling you, everybody jumped out of their chairs. And I'm sure she probably has grown her business quite a bit just by those members there. I bought one of those and for my son, a football for his birthday. Anyways, welcome, Jill. I'm so glad that you're here. And I'm excited to learn more about your business. And so tell me about your journey. Where did you start from? And how did you get where you are here today? And where did the idea come from?
Yeah, so I started this business actually almost exactly 4 years ago. I formalized it 4 years ago. So I was creating these chocolate piñatas maybe a few months before that, and then formalized the business, came up with the name Kaboom Chocolaka. And so I've been creating these chocolate piñatas, filling them with candy or whatever the customer wants, and letting them get to smash them open to see what's inside. And I just stumbled upon the idea by flipping through social media, and I came across a video from somebody in Australia that had created one. And my son's birthday was coming up. And so I was like, oh, this is perfect. I'll make one for him. And of course, the lady in the video made it look so easy. But that night, I was up all night creating his for his third birthday.
What we do for our kids.
But it was just such a neat experience to see, like, when he got to break something and get a treat for it, like the joy in his eyes. Then I knew, like, at that point I wanted to create more. And at that point I didn't know I wanted to make it into a business, but I knew I wanted to create more. And so yeah, it just kind of took off from there, and it's just been, these last 4 years have just been an amazing journey. So
I bet they have. You know, it's interesting because not only kids but adults, I mean, it's too much fun to hit. We still love piñatas, right? I think it was, I don't know, 50 or 55, and we had a piñata for all of us. There's 5 of us that celebrate our birthdays because they're all within a week of each other. And so we had a piñata one year. We had a ball. Yeah. We had a ball. It wasn't the chocolate piñata, but you know, it was a regular piñata. I think adults love it just as much as kids.
Oh, for sure. Now it's a little bit more kids, but most of my customers are about half adults, half kids. But I mean, it's the same thing. Like, how many times do you break something and get a sweet or a treat for it? You know, when we were little, we at least got our hands slapped or something, you know, like this is like, no, you actually can break it, and the enjoyment of it. And it releases frustration. I mean, we're adults, we all have frustrations. And so, yeah, I've for retirements and anniversaries and grand openings and all sorts of occasions, like the adults will call me and place an order, and we work through it and design something special for their event, and it's great.
I can remember in the beginning you didn't have very many items that you were doing, but I am sure you probably have a plethora of different styles, items. I mean, we've got some showing right now. You know, it's almost Easter and almost summer, and you know, I can only imagine. So does your brain ever stop? Yeah.
No, I mean, I can look at pretty much anything out in the open, and I'm like, I want to make a piñata like that. I have a long note of, things that I want to try, and I have way more. But yeah, in the beginning, it was mainly just cupcakes. That was the only thing I was really making. And now I show others that are interested in creating these breakables. Some people call them breakables, some people call them chocolate piñatas, or combination of there. And I'll show others like what you can do, and they're always so fascinated and surprised that you can create so much with them. There's just so many, there are endless options, and they're like, it's like cake. You can almost do anything with cake, but this is better than cake if you ask me.
Absolutely. And they are delicious. I can tell you that. They sure are. I mean, we couldn't keep our hands off of it once we broke it. And I think I probably ate more than anybody, but shh, don't tell anybody.
Your secret is safe.
Right. I just announced it to the whole wide world, right? So show us some of these items that you have. Now, I know that part of your journey took you through a major retailer, and I can only imagine, I have chills just thinking about it. I can only imagine when you were approached or you approached them, however that happened, that had to be like, icing on the cake, icing on the chocolate. I don't know. I mean, how exciting was that for you?
It still is at times so unbelievable. They actually approached me, Nancy Baldwin, sorry, I know a Nancy Bradford. Nancy Baldwin is a writer and editor, and she did an article that got into the Dallas Morning News, and Michael's, the major retailer, they picked it up and they called me, and they were just so what's the word? They were just so complimentary, and they said, we want to work with you, and we don't really, just let us know what you want to do with us. And I actually had to call them back 2 days later and say, like, did I really hear you right? Like, I thought I was like, did I dream this? And it was the funniest conversation. They were like, yes, that's what we said. And I was like, okay. Well, part of my journey was trying to source molds. I was having 4 years ago was having just the most difficult time finding something that would work. There were a bunch of cake molds, but you kind of had to, I say, MacGyver them to make them work for these chocolate piñatas. And I felt like I had looked across the U.S., couldn't find things, and I was shipping things from overseas, which would take longer. And, so it was just a kind of one of the biggest struggles that I had with the business early on. So when they said, well, what are some things that you would like to do? And that was the thing that laid on my heart. I was like, I really want to create some molds. And so we, with their supplier, American Crafts, we created like 7 large molds. This is a cupcake. There's a heart. And so we have 7 large molds, 3 mini molds. The mini molds are also a cupcake, a ball, and a square, and then some chocolate tools as well too, and of course a mallet. You're going to need a mallet. So, so I brought a couple here today. This is called a seam tool, and it cleans up some of the edges of the piñatas. So that's just been an amazing journey all around. That we've got to create these, and people are using them and enjoying them, asking questions on what else we can do. So I get to show, not only help instruct people on how to use them, which has been a joy too, but then also, show off some of my designs and things like that.
And a heart.
Yes, of course.
A heart. Kaboom. Right?
Well, you can be a heartbreaker.
There. That's funny. That's funny.
Yeah.
That's good.
So that's that, and it's just been a pleasure working with them. And American Crafts, so they're the supplier of the molds, and they really listened to all my complaints. Well, then I have to do this as a workaround, and then I have to do this as a workaround, and they just really took all that information and encompassed it in these molds. So I really, perfecting them and making them easier to use and cutting down the time that someone could create them. So now it's just not, food crafters creating these. It's people at home and the DIY mom and dad and anybody, that wants to create something now can. So it really made it much easier for everybody.
I would have loved to have this available when my son was little, because every year I did all his cakes, right?
Yeah.
Fancy cakes, not, and I had no experience, but I didn't want to spend the money, and I was on a very tight budget. And so I would make I'd make a new cake every year. One year was computer, one year was a baseball field, one year was Superman, all these different cakes. How fun would it have been to make one of those?
Yeah, and it really is your own style. I have a certain style of creating them, and I now, work with other creators, and it's just so lovely to see their style and how people view things. And I like taking, one set, like the top of the cupcake, and using it as a hat or something like that, or well, actually the top of a cupcake could be a large pile of poo. We've done that before too.
Right.
So, so it's just like taking different pieces from the different molds and creating something entirely different. It's been really neat just to see the transformation.
Very artistic, very fun, very different. And there's a major restaurant that has one that comes on a stick, and I thought maybe you got the inspiration from that. But it's so interesting that you found it online through Australia, you said?
Yeah. So Australia is actually known, they're kind of like advanced in their food crafting. So a lot of good ideas are coming out of Australia. So if you're a food crafter that follow on social media, follow somebody from Australia, you'll find a lot of neat things. And I didn't even know about that other restaurant. It was after talking to a couple of friends, someone said, oh, it's like this item at this other restaurant. And I was like, I have no idea what you're talking about. So yeah, here I thought.
Well, it swings and it's kind of messy. So this is messy, but not as bad. You can kind of control this mess a little more than that one. But it still is fun. I mean, it's just fun. Everybody take a whack at like I said, it's just fun. And I just wanted to bring some fun to the business world, because that's what it's about, right? Mm-hmm. Let's have some fun and smiles and release some of the stress that we deal with on a daily basis. So that being said, we're going to have to take a quick little break. And after the break, Jill's going to share with us a few 2 or 3 tips that she thinks that could help you in your business, things that she's implemented. Now, remember, she's a newer business, and I'm going to ask her a question, and I can almost guarantee you she's probably said yes to it more than once. But we'll be back in a moment. We're back with Jill from Kaboom Chocolaka, newer business, 4 years old. I should say 4 years young. And she's going to share some 2 or 3 tips with us that helped her improve her business and stay going. But my first question to her is, how many times have you felt like quitting?
I've taken breaks. I've always, I don't know. Well, yeah, quite often, probably, if I was honest, because I also support my family, and so it is much easier to be in a corporate job. I was in a corporate job a very long time, for a very long time, and it is much easier to do that, like people say like, oh, you get to work for yourself. But when you work for yourself, that pretty means you work 24/7. So yeah, so it's been, there are times where I'm like, okay, well, let me just take a step back, and, I might take a break from social media a little bit, or, things like that. But yeah, it's, my first major tip kind of ties into that, and that is just trusting the process. And those times where, I'm like, okay, I've taken this far enough, or, it's time to maybe do something else. It's like, no, trust the process, because there were times where like I may have hem-hawed about a decision, and it turned out that it was really beneficial that I did, or like I really took a lot of time to settle on the name, and I really think the name has helped. That I, and that's probably my second tip too, that if I would have picked something that said like Jill's Sweets or Jill's Treats, there's nothing wrong with that. But I really feel that since I spent some time on the name. I mean, it probably was a good 6 months before I was thinking about names, and before this kind of bolt of lightning hit me, and I was like, that's got to be my name. But I think, something more unique really helped. And if you can always, change your business name too. But those two things are, just trusting the process, and there's there's no failures. It's learning. It's just, events that you learn from, and just keep going. But yeah, it's, for a new business, and especially the first, even today, but especially the first couple of years, I spent a lot of time just explaining what they were, what are these things, and why anybody would want to order one, and sometimes they're like, that's a little defeating. Like people, if they don't get the concept, or they get down, like, am I not explaining it right? What can I do? But usually when somebody sees one getting smashed, then they're like, oh, okay.
Well, it's too simple of a concept.
Yeah.
For the most part. And we try to complicate things. People try to complicate things. And I always tell them, keep it simple, sweetie, right?
Yeah.
Kiss. Let's, it's not that complicated. It's, you take a mallet and you bang the object, whatever it is that was made, right?
Yeah.
And fun stuff falls out of it, whether it be candy, money, I don't know. Have you ever put money in them?
Yeah, for sure. I did one. I actually created origami dollar bills for somebody that was into origami, and made like 18 different items out of dollar, or no, it was 13, because she was turning 13. So we did 13 different items and put them in, and was on YouTube all night. Okay, what else can I do? I made a cat. Now can I make this? But yeah, it's sometimes toys will go inside if they request it. I've had people request car keys to go inside because they're gifting a car. So it's even some high dollar items too. So that's been fun too. And of course, like gender reveals, and I have a gender reveal coming up, and those are always just so fun.
Well, a thought just came to me. My son's getting married. I need one for his wedding.
Yes.
There you go. I'm placing my order.
All right. Perfect.
Anyways, okay. So stay with the process, because I know there are days when you think there is no way that I'm going to, I am so done. I am tired. I'm burned out, whatever the case may be. What pushes you over the edge to take that next step and say, nope, I'm not giving up. I'm going to trudge forward?
I just really believe in that. I believe in these molds. My goal was, when I first started this, I wanted to bring just a little bit of joy and to somebody. First it was my family, just give them a little bit of joy. And that usually comes down when I have to make a decision, like, does it honor my mission statement to bring a little bit of joy? And and that's really just kind of what keeps me going. I do believe in this journey, and I almost on a daily basis, people contact me and like, I love your molds, or I love your creations. And like, here recently, people are saying like they're inspired by me, which I'm like, okay, that's not anything I've expected, and things like that. So it's just, I think that's just what it is. It's just like, I really believe that this is, anybody can do this, anybody can make it fun, and it just gives joy to.
Well, I think part of anything that anybody does, no matter what it is, you have to love what you do.
Yes. Oh, yeah.
You have to love what you do. If you don't love what you do, then giving up will be super easy to walk out that door and go by the wayside, right? I mean, you've got to love, and you got to figure out what that is and what your why is. You obviously have a very strong why in why you keep on going, because honestly, businesses 5 years and younger fail more than they succeed. So you've got your eye on the target, which I think is great. Now, so we talked about those two. Do you have a third one that you want to add?
No, those were my two main ones. I think those have been, some of my, I have to tell myself, like, trust the process, like, and so I feel like that's something, when doubt creeps in and things like that, that's a really main one. And I really feel that because of the name that opened the door with Michael's and things like that. And so those were two core things that I really think helped me daily, is trusting the process. But the name has also opened some doors because it's just a fun name. Kaboom Chocolaka.
It is a fun name. And that's interesting that you took some time to really come up with the right name. Now, being a mom, being a wife, running a household, running a business is not simple. But it sounds like to me like your kids love this and your husband is supporting you every step of the way.
Yeah, and I was actually going to say that, when the doubt creeps in, there are times where I lean on him, and I'm like, and he believes in me, like, because there are times where I'm like, I think it might be time for me to go back to the corporate world. And he's like, no, it's not time for you. Like, he's the one that he's like, and not just yet, keep going, and things like that. So yeah. And my kids have just been so complimentary. I mean, my son will, when I'm creating one, my son will come through the kitchen and like a couple months ago, and he was just like, I don't know how he just turned 8. And he's like, I don't know how you do what you do. You do it so well, and he used to tease me and call me, like, he would get this like deep voice and be like, she's Kaboom Chocolaka CEO, like, he's just like, he loves it too. And like my daughter, at times I'm like, oh, this is something you can help me with too. And she'll, is more than willing to help. And so they're definitely a motivating factor. I mean, they are. I mean, any wife and mom would tell you the same probably. So,
well, I mean, it's hard. Quite simply, it's hard running a business. And there's a lot of aspects of operations and accounting and, all the different departments that you have to deal with by yourself, basically. And, and when you start growing, you're like, how do I make this decision, that decision? And having a good home support system means everything. It can be success or failure, right? Because if you're not supported at home, depending on how strong of an individual you are, you could be a failure. But, I think what's important is that you keep on going. And I want all the listeners to understand, and people who are watching this, that don't give up. Don't ever give up. And never say, I repeat these words at almost all of my video podcasts, never use the words, I can't. Ever. Yes, you can. You just have to figure out a different solution, which obviously Michael's helped you figure out a solution, right? There's always a solution to figure out. So which solution is it that needs looking at? You figured it out. It came natural to you, right? Your frustrations. Who can solve my frustrations, right?
And I kind of, with this journey too, is like, I often joke that I approach this journey the same way I approached dating. I did not date for a very long time. And I approached dating as, I'm just going to do this for the experience of it. So I wasn't going to, like, I didn't approach dating as, I'm going to go out and find a husband. I'm like, I want the experience of dating. I have not really invested any time with that. I didn't do it in high school. I barely did it in college. And so I kind of approached this business the same way. And that kind of takes that pressure off, because it's like, if something doesn't go right, well, I know at the end of the day, I got the experience from it. So I'm not going to repeat that same mistake, or I'm going to learn from it, or, it's just a blip in the road. And so, yeah, so that kind of does take a little bit of the pressure off on this business. It's just like, I'm doing it for the experience and, honing my craft, working with customers and individuals who use my molds, and, just going from there. So keep going down the road, one foot, one baby step in front of the other sometimes.
Well, and sometimes you take 2 steps back before you take 5 steps forward.
Yes,
I mean,
for sure.
I've been there. I understand that process. And why not? I mean, you only live once. Let's have some fun, right?
Yeah.
So that being said, unfortunately, it's time for another quick break, but I am so excited to see what's inside the treasure chest. So we will be right back. Hey, are you using Google Business Profile for your business yet? If you're not, today is the day you start. Even if you already have a Google Business Profile and don't know what to do, then join us for Google Business Profile Live Masterclass, coming to a computer near you. Chris O'Connor, Lenny Rowell, and Alicia Maples will teach you how to master Google Business Profile to crush your competitors. Enroll now at googlemybusinessprofiletipsandtricks.com. Let us help you dominate your competition. I am so excited. I am Chris O'Connor, your host of Hidden Gems of DFW video podcast. And we are here with Jill Baethge. Did I say it right?
Yes.
Yay! And she has her own company, Kaboom Chocolaka. And we're so excited that we get to the treasure chest time. And so I am going to open up our treasure chest. And this is what's inside. So tell us about this.
Yes, so it's a Kaboom mallet, and I think everybody needs one of these because you can use it to smash self-doubt, smash that glass ceiling. Sometimes you need to do that, and smash those things away and get a treat for it. So anytime you have anything you're a business owner, you get frustrated, smash something that's not going to cause property damage,
That's hilarious. Well, let's see. Let's smash this treasure chest. No, I'm just kidding. But honestly, it's a great little mallet. I love it. I love it. And you've got your name on there. That's even better.
Yeah. So, the action of Kaboom, so we'll get to use that here in a little bit.
Oh, I'm so excited. I'm so excited. So we talked a lot about perseverance and keep going, keep going. We talked about family and how important support for family is. And what was the second tip that we talked about?
And having a unique name, I think that
name. That's
that
right.
opens the
doors. Which
actually,
Kaboom. I mean, how did you come up with that name? Where did it come from?
It really was two thoughts kind of converging together. So there's that song that's like, boom, shakalaka, shaka.
Yes.
So that kind of goes through my head at random times. And then I was playing a game. I was showing my daughter how to play a game on the phone. And I was like, when you combine this, you're going to like see an explosion, like it's going to go like kablooey or like kaboom. And that song had been playing in my head earlier that day. And I was like, Kaboom Chocolaka. I mean, it really was like just this, and I was like, it's got to be that. And I had tried some other names, like one was Jill's Spills of Thrills. And fortunately, I ran that by a friend and she's like, yeah, I didn't know exactly what you meant by that. So I was like, yeah, that does sound like could be a bad name. Yeah.
Well, it was a mouthful too. Yeah, you had to really think about what you were saying.
Yeah. So this was definitely once, like I said, it probably was 6 months into the journey where I was like, and then right after that, I formalized the name. So I mean, it was like I knew right away, like this has got to be it. So
that's so awesome, and I'm glad that nobody had it
Yeah, yeah. I did all sorts of searches and different spellings and things like that, and then have obviously since trademarked the name too. So
Good for you.
yeah.
Good for you. That's awesome. So after talking about all this fun stuff today, and the smell of chocolate is just making me hungry in here because that egg is real. It's not fake. Everything's real sitting over there. And those are just 3 of the designs that she can do. We shared some molds with some other things that you guys can do. But is there anything that kind of popped in your head that you think, I think somebody should understand this or know this? Or what do you think you can offer? What's that thought that popped into your head?
It actually was related to you, was the thought. When you brought up the chamber, you were actually one of my first customers. In fact, I think you were my first customer.
Was I?
Through the chamber. And I just like was so appreciative that you gave, a newbie a chance, and, and didn't even think twice, placed your order, and you're like, let's do this. And it was just like, I thought that was just speaks volumes to you, that you weren't like, okay, well, let's first check it out. Like, you took that first step, and like, I mean, and after that, the chamber has been, extremely helpful and things like that. So
well, to regress a little bit, in the chamber, when I first became a member of the chamber, now I didn't have a fun product like this. I had a garage door, right? How exciting is that? Not very. And so it took me going every Friday morning at least 8 months before somebody trusted me.
Yeah.
And once somebody trusts you in the chamber, then all of a sudden the business starts happening. I see no reason to wait. Yeah. It was a fun item. I mean, the thing that I've learned in business is make the decision. Don't hem and haw. Don't think about it. Oh, I shoulda, woulda, coulda, right? Make the decision and go with it. And I just did a huge seminar with a big name. Many of you know who Tony Robbins is this past weekend. It's changed my life. My life will never be the same, just like their song, honestly. And he talks about making those decisions. Don't hem and haw, make the decision and move on. Sometimes they're right, sometimes they're wrong, okay? I wasn't perfect in business. I had bad days and I had struggles, but I also had a lot of victories, right? So I think that's what everybody in business has. A lot of ups and downs. It's a roller coaster, right? Yeah. It's never even keel, and I don't think you ever want it to be even keel. I do know that I could never go back to corporate world because I came from corporate world. I did corporate world. I taught in school system. Prior to that was corporate world. So I just saw your product, loved it, and said, why wait?
Yeah.
And I had a need. It was something different and something fun. So make the decision to call Jill and have some fun, right?
Yes, exactly.
So like I said, we've talked about a lot of different things, and I really appreciate that compliment. But I loved your product. Truly. It's fun. It's delicious. Okay? Because a lot of times, when you do that, doesn't taste very good. But her product tastes really, really good. Her chocolate is really, really good. So I want everybody to know how to reach you. So tell us what's the best way to reach you, whether it be Instagram. I know you're very big on Instagram. Tell everybody how to reach you.
Yeah, so I have a website, kaboomchocolaka.com, and there's an order form on there. So that's one way to reach me. So that's a really good way. My cell phone or the work phone is 972-742-2664. And then also, yes, I'm on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok. I've started putting a few things out on Pinterest, and they're all under Kaboom Chocolaka. So if you find that handle, you'll find me.
That's so fun. It is just really fun to have somebody who's relatively new in business on my video podcast and to hear her journey, because you never know what twists and turns that you're going to have, right?
Yes. I never would have guessed that I would be talking to anybody at Michael's, and they would be the ones calling me. And then now that's really opened the door for, other retailers to come in and use these, have these molds in their stores. And so, yeah, it's fascinating.
And I'm sure that's not even the end of it. I'm sure there's even going to be even bigger, more exciting things, because I think that was probably just the beginning of a very adventure journey. So I'm just excited to have you today, and thank you for being part of our Hidden Gems of DFW.
Yeah. Thank you.
So we are definitely nearing the end of the show, which is saddening. But I hope you had some fun with this show today, and I hope you learned a lot. I hope that there's something that maybe, if there's no other thing that you learned today, but keep going no matter what. Keep going. Wake up with a new attitude, a new lease on life, and say, yes, I'm going after what I want. My business is important to me. I can do this. I will find the right people to help me. Whatever the answer is for you, go for it. Just go for it. So I want you to always remember that you are insanely valuable, and despite the labels of doubt that you have about yourself, and probably created by outside people and experiences, that you can do so much more. I can help you grow your business. Connect with me by phone or email. And if you're watching this video on YouTube, make sure that you subscribe and like my channel. I'm an early adopter, and I'm just growing this podcast. So let's get you excited about your business again and again. Don't forget to subscribe. See you next time.
Oh, I'm so excited she brought this Easter egg for me to break. Now, I don't really have any frustration, but I can't wait to bang this. You ready? You ready? 1, 2, drum roll. Oh! Look what's in there. Okay, I'm going to turn this.
Yeah.
There we go. Okay. See how good they are made? Now, look what's...
a lot of frustration out.
Yes, you can. Look at all this fun stuff in here, guys. Look.
Yeah.
Lunch. Are you ready? Look at that. That's okay. Oh, even big ones. Look. Yummy. Thank you. That was fun. Don't you want one? Call her up now. She wants to make one just for you. Whatever you want. Enjoy.
Thanks for watching and listening to Hidden Gems of DFW with Chris O'Connor. Don't forget to subscribe. Feel free to connect with me. I love hearing your successes.